or somewhere in cyberspace.
Savant said, don't like my
And so, let us turn within. Into that center where it dwells. That's presence, that power, which is fully expressing itself in and through all creation, in and through each of us here. It has brought us here to drink once more of this fountain, from this fountain of light, life, and joy. And so, we know that this morning's event, which we call Practitioners Sunday, is special for each of us. It's special for a speaker who prepares herself to share with you words of encouragement, words of light, life, and joy. And as we open our hearts and release and let go, we allow Spirit to take control of our thoughts. We allow Spirit to be that which through we see. We allow Spirit to express fully in, through, and as us, in, through, and as this service. And so we release these words, and we release them and give thanks that all this is indeed so. So it is. So this morning, Practitioners Sunday, I am Carol Charlton, and I share the podium with practitioner Sandra Cooper, who will bring the message as you recognized. I'll share with you now this morning's inspirational reading, which is taken from the Joyous Living Journal, and it's titled The Garden of Thought. It was written for March 10. Your life is like a garden in which the fruits of your beliefs are growing. You can learn to tend the garden of your life by tending to the garden of your mind. With your intention and attention, plant what you have to harvest. Keep your thought firmly fixed on ideas that are powerful, memories that are lovely, beliefs that are wholesome, and thoughts that are in alignment with what you want to experience and live. Keep planting seeds of joy and watering them with gratitude. Pull out the weeds of anger, shame, blame, or lack and limitation with spiritual principles and the power of love. Do not rent space in your mind to people and situations from the past. Root them out and toss them in the compost heap. The work you do every day in the garden of your mind will determine the quality of the harvest in your life. So I ask you to contemplate what seeds are growing in your garden, what weeds need to be pulled out. What will you plant instead? And affirmatively, you may say, one joy sprouts a garden. One joy uproots 100 griefs. Just think on that. One joy uproots 100 griefs. Wow. So now, let us stand for the praise song, which is on your program. I release, I let go.
She's off the school now. She's off the internet now.
I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggles, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for God.
And on that note, I now light. It's time for the prayer of our center, and I should have asked you to remain standing for that. Please. The Temple of Light, Center for Spiritual Living, is a sacred field embodying our spiritual community, from which the Christ, peace, love, and joy emanate, to touch, to heal, to bless, to prosper, and to liberate anyone who comes into contact with it in any way. The light of the Christ illumines us, our center, and our environment. Our spiritual community is filled with and surrounded by the presence of God, and is growing from strength to strength. The power of God expands our consciousness of truth, guiding us ceaselessly along the paths of wisdom, spiritual growth, unfoldment, and attainment. We are blessed, and to God be the honor and glory forever. And so it is. Now you may be seated, and now I light the candle. I light this candle on behalf of all our youth of whatever vintage. Let us behold the Christ light in them. And the blessing.
We love you. We appreciate you. We salute the Christ in you. We see you as shining lights unto your world. God is blessing you now. And so it is.
The mission song is our next item. Join us, please, wherever you are.
The temple temple of light, the temple of light, the temple of light. We are a people with a vision, one in spirit, on a mission. To touch, to heal, to bless, to prosper, to love and liberate anyone who comes into contact with us, anytime, night or day. The temple of light, the temple of light, the temple of light. We are a people with a vision, one with spirit on a mission. To touch, to heal, to bless, to prosper, to love and liberate anyone who comes into contact with us, anytime, night or day.
Oh, we're always energized by those lyrics and the uplift of the tune. So now, it's time for our announcements. Do we have any first-time guests worshiping with us this morning? Well, wherever you are, within our sanctuary or online, we welcome you to our hearts and to our beautiful Temple of Light Center for Spiritual Living. We trust you will come again to share your consciousness with us. Live streaming, we continue to live stream every Sunday at 9 a.m. and on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. The recording is also available later on YouTube. The schedule of our temple activities is posted online on the Temple of Light Facebook page. Discovery. Please join Reverends John Scott and Michael Record on Facebook Live this morning at 10:30 for Discovery. The topic, an interesting one, will be, what did Jesus mean when he said, the truth will make us free? Come and join us, please. And then tomorrow morning, quiet moments in the garden. Join Reverend John Scott in quiet moments in the garden on Monday morning at 6 o'clock. Every Monday morning this takes place. It's a refreshing and insightful early morning pickup for the beginning of the week. And then for our classes, on Tuesdays from 7 to 9:30 Eastern Standard Time on Zoom, Reverend Michael Record facilitates an accredited class, Shortcut to a Miracle, based on the book by Elizabeth Arrett. Reverend John's in-person class, Ignite Your Life with Bible Wisdom, continues on Thursdays from 11 until 1. Also on Thursdays, 7 to 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, Reverends Ann Shand and Sonia Davidson co-facilitate an interesting and I dare say lively class on Zoom titled The Lazarus Blueprint. You can register for classes and obtain the Zoom link by going to classes.templeoflightcsl.org. classes.templeoflightcsl.org. Contribution for each class is $1,200 for registered members and $1,600 for interested persons. And then the Lifeline series, our October series of Lifeline on Facebook, is scheduled for this Thursday, October 28th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Our special guest will be Reverend Dr. Jim Lockhart, who will speak on the topic, the hero within. Dr. Lockhart has served CSL congregations in Baltimore, Fort Lauderdale, and Simi Valley. The focus of his ministry is awakening minds and opening hearts. Please be sure to watch us on Thursday evening and invite a friend as well. Now, passes to Sunday to attend service. If you wish to attend a Sunday morning service, kindly collect a pass from the office on Mondays to Fridays before 3 p.m. If you are unable to collect a pass and you have WhatsApp, you can call us at 876-946-2230. And we will send you a photograph of the pass, which the police will accept. Temple of Light blogs. Please be reminded that our messages every week are edited by Reverend Michael Record and posted on our webpage, templeoflightcsl.org. Kindly log on to read these shortened versions of our talks. You may have missed something during this Sunday morning, and it will just be a good reminder for you to log on to that. So now for donations and tithes and offerings, if you feel moved to support our ministry, kindly visit our donate page. That is donate.templeoflightcsl.org, which has our banking details. Thank you for your generosity and for helping us to be a beacon of light in the world. And then there's prayer support. We continue to respond with prayer to the challenges of this special time. A practitioner is available to pray with you immediately following our service every Sunday. On duty this morning is practitioner Carol Campbell, and the number to call is 876-289-0907. And then you may also speak with a minister from Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 12 midnight by calling, and I repeat, 876-289-0907. This will conclude the announcements, and I'll now ask you to prepare to get comfortable and prepare yourself for the next item on our program, which is a series of meditations. The first is a meditation for health. God's perfect pattern of health is the pattern of my life now. I am inwardly guided to do what I need to do, to care for my body and maintain it in divine wholeness. I feel the sizzling energy of perfect health vibrating every cell and fiber of my being. I appreciate, praise, and enjoy the perfect action of divine health as me now. And so it is.
God is health, that health surrounds me, in that health I safely dwell. 'Tis above, beneath, within me, health is mine, and all is well. God is health, pure health, God is health, sweet health, that health is mine, mine.
affirmation of wealth. The substance of the Spirit is my daily supply. Divine intelligence working through me always knows just what I need and always supplies it when I need it. I have the energy and passion to attract and build and be successful in all my endeavors. I'm grateful for the abundance that I have and for the abundance that is on its way. I appreciate, praise, and enjoy the wealth of God as me now. And so it is.
God is wealth, that wealth surrounds me. In that wealth I safely dwell. 'Tis above, beneath, within me. Wealth is mine, and all is well. God is wealth, pure wealth. God is wealth, sweet wealth. That wealth is mine, and all is well.
We affirm now life. The presence of God expresses in and as my life now. I attract the best that life has to offer, and I celebrate every joyous moment. I acknowledge the daily miracles and magical moments that make my life worth living. I freely and joyfully express my creativity and uniqueness. I am deeply grateful for my conscious awareness and the fullness of my self-expression. And so it is.
God is light, that light surrounds me. In that light I safely dwell. 'Tis above, beneath, within me. Light is mine, and all is well. God is light, pure light. God is light, sweet light. That light is mine, and all is well.
And now an affirmation of light. The light of wisdom, clarity, and intelligence is my inner light. It is my guide and my protection. In this light, I think intelligently, choose wisely, speak confidently, and act lovingly. I am safe and secure in the warm embrace of God's light. I am so grateful for the light of my ever-expanding consciousness. And so it is.
God is light, that light surrounds me. In that light I safely dwell. 'Tis above, beneath, within me. Light is mine, and all is well. God is light, pure
we affirm love. Love, like the river of life, flows through me and refreshes me with its eternal blessings. I radiate this love that comes from deep within my being. It radiates to all and is flowing through all. It goes before me and connects all humanity with cords of everlasting harmony. In love, I rest assured that I am fearless and strong, whole and complete. And so it is.
God is love, that love surrounds me. In that love I safely dwell. 'Tis above, beneath, within me. Love is mine, and all is well. God is love, pure love. God is love, sweet love. That love is mine, mine, and all is well.
From that refreshing moment, let us now open our hearts and our voices as we stand to sing our first hymn. Why?
Why be filled with all the glory? Why be filled with all thy doubt? Why should we go hurry-scurry and in circles race about? God within shall ever guide us, and forever holds the key. Why should we let darkness hide us when the light shall set us free? Why be filled with indecision? Why be tied up in a knot? Why not seek the inner vision that's revealed in quiet thought? As the truth and love shall guide us, making purpose clear and strong, their way shall not divide us, and our heart will sing a song. May good cheer now fill my being, and the joy of life be mine. May direction unforeseen find the door of God divine. With assurance now behold it, and our voices song we raise, and perceiving now enfold it, and be filled with love and praise.
Please be seated. Our speaker this morning, practitioner Sandra Cooper, will give us some insights into answering some of those whys. She's prepared an encouragement which will stimulate you to change your thinking and watch your life change for the better. So open your eyes, your heart, and your vision. You're about to take off to the new you. Welcome, Sandra.
Good morning, friends,
Good morning, Sandra.
and welcome to the Temple of Light, Center for Spiritual Living. It is an absolute joy for me to be here this morning and to bring you the message. I know and acknowledge this as a beautiful day. And I'm so grateful to be alive and awake and aware. Let us say that together. I am so grateful to be alive, awake, and aware.
I'm so grateful to be alive, awake, and aware.
Turn to the person nearest to you and say, thank you for sharing this day with me. Wow. You know, as stories go, there is a beautiful monastery tucked away at the top of a mountain somewhere in Spain. One of the fundamental requirements of this religious order is that the young monks must maintain silence. I'm sure you may have heard this already, but it's worth telling again. Opportunities to speak are provided once every 2 years, at which time they are only allowed to say 2 words. One young initiate in this religious order, having completed his first 2 years of training, was invited by his superior to make his first 2-word presentation. Food terrible. And that was that. Until 2 years later, when the invitation came up again for him to share his 2 words. He used that forum to say, bed lumpy. Arriving at his superior's office 2 years later, that's now 6 years, he proclaimed, I quit. The superior looked at the young man and said, you know, it doesn't surprise me one bit. All you've done since you have arrived here is complain, complain, complain. Well, what if you were asked to share 2 words that described your life? Would you focus on the lumps and the bumps and the unfairness? Or are you committed to dwell on those things that are good and right and lovely and true? Here's another example. There once was a woman who woke up one morning, looked in the mirror and noticed that she had only 3 hairs on her head. Well, she said, I think I will braid my hair today. So she did, and she had a wonderful day. The next day she woke up, looked in the mirror, and noticed that she had 2 hairs on her head. She said, I think I'll part my hair down the middle today. And she did. And she had a wonderful day. The next day when she woke up, she found that she only had 1 hair on her head. So she declared with great joy, I think I will wear a ponytail today. And so she did. And she had a fun, grand day. The next day, when she woke up, there were no hairs on her head. And she said, yay! I don't have to do anything to my hair today. So you see, it is all a matter of perspective. And that's the title of my encouragement this morning. It's all a matter of perspective. Perspective is a particular attitude toward or way of regarding something. It is in effect a point of view. We are all blessed with free will to choose any perspective or point of view we want about the occurrences in our lives. The challenge is that it is easier to focus on and complain about what we see as the bumps, the lumps, and the unfairness of daily living. Friends, when the heart is hurting, it is often difficult to see beyond the perceived cause of that hurt. We may find ourselves consumed with thoughts of worry and despair. It is almost as if we are hypnotized into acceptance of the status quo. Is so life go? We might say, as we struggle through, that's the way it is. Yet situations that cause suffering, poverty, and pain are common experiences in the human condition. And we are the ones who determine what we make of those experiences. Whether we see them as good or bad, it is all a matter of perspective. Or as Shakespeare says, there is no good or bad. Thinking makes it so. Just take the story of the farmer. And this is one I know you have heard already from this podium, but it's a nice story and it proves the point. Once upon a time, his only horse ran away. And the villagers said, "Oh, that's too bad." The farmer shrugged it off and said, "Well, good, bad, who's to say?" A few days later, the horse returned, along with 2 beautiful wild mares. The villagers were so excited for the farmer's good luck, and they told him so. So, of course, he replied, "Good, bad, who's to say?" So the farmer's son, an adventurous young man as he was, tried to break in one of the mares, and it threw him, and he broke his leg. The villagers were so distressed and expressed their distress to the farmer. Of course, he replied in his usual glib tone, "Good, bad, who's to say?" Well, the next day, the army came recruiting all the young men in the village to go off to war. But since the farmer's son had a broken leg, he couldn't go. And so he stayed home. And of course, the villagers again declared how good it was that his son didn't have to go to fight. The farmer once again said, "Good, bad, who's to say?" Well, I learned a long time ago that there is always a silver lining to every cloud, and good must come of everything that we label bad. I want you to reflect for a moment on something you might have labeled bad in the past, something that might have happened in your life. I'm sure that as you look at the situation from your present day perspective, you can see the good and the lessons learned that has come out of that situation. For myself, the end of my marriage enabled me to blossom. Not having enough money made me extremely creative. And my son's blindness moved him into a whole new realm of conscious awareness. Our spiritual growth is often accelerated by setbacks in life, which are in essence setups for our greater good. Fighting or resisting what you're going through is likely to close you off to the gifts that such an experience is bringing. So even if you can't see what that good is today or next week or next month, trust that it is so. It's all a matter of perspective. Life gives us everything we need for spiritual evolution. Every experience we have is an opportunity for us to learn something and blossom into a greater understanding of our divine nature. Change your thinking, change your life is one of the fundamental pillars of this teaching that we know as the science of mind. It does take a revolution in thinking to know something apart from what our 5 senses tell us. When we are filled with anxiety, right thinking enables us to recognize truth as the only way out. Until that happens, feel your feelings. There is a story of a little girl who was throwing a tantrum in a bank. Of course, the bank was crowded and the mother was embarrassed. So she tried to get the little girl to stop crying. And the little girl stood up, put her hands akimbo, and looked up at her mother and said, "Mommy, I am not finished my feelings yet." Then she threw herself back on the ground and continued to cry. So, friends, when we have the feelings, the anger, the sadness, the frustration, we need to allow ourselves to feel our feelings. It is a very important part of our spiritual growth. So, for me, I will feel, and then I cry. I pray. I cry some more. I pray again. And then the tears usually stop. And if they don't stop, I will find myself a practitioner, right? Because after the prayer, light always finds its way through the darkness of whatever the experience is, and it allows the tears to subside. But if that doesn't happen, I recognize that perhaps I'm too close to the situation, and then I will call on my practitioner. When we shift our thinking and contemplate truth, instead of fixing the appearance, we begin to understand what the master teacher taught us, that we are in the world, but we are not of it. When we approach our lives from this perspective, we are no longer concerned about any seeming problem before us, because we have risen above it. Such is the power of right thinking, that it cancels and erases anything unlike itself. It answers every question, it solves all problems, and it is a solution to every difficulty. So what past blunders might you have that's perhaps lurking in your consciousness that haunt or cast their shadow on your present? What will it take for you to find them, acknowledge them, and lovingly release them? It's important for us to be very gentle with ourselves as we do the inner work to heal and rise above any sense of struggle. I often tell myself that I might not be able to change the past, but I can change how the past affects the present and not let it dictate who I am. You know, Reverend Dr. Raymond Anderson, we call him an honorary Jamaican. He's a friend of the Temple of Light. He asks, looking at your life today, right now, what are we invited to learn, to release, to realize, and to embody as we continue to live, laugh, and love as the eternal and infinitely divine, magnificent beings that we are? He reminds us that the more we embody the truth of our divinity, the more we experience the thing we call healing in all areas of our life. And we learn, of course, that there's nothing to heal. There is only God to reveal. But it takes a level of thinking to be able to do that, conscious thinking, and focus on what we know to be the truth. So I'm going to suggest a number of things that we can do to shift our perspective. First one is to be very consciously aware of our self-talk and the language that we use. The conversations that we have with ourselves is a direct reflection of our mindset. I personally dislike writing reports in my work. I don't want to use that word, but I really dislike writing reports. You can relate to that, right, Reverend John? Mm-hmm. And I find myself saying, oh my God, this is hard. It's like a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle. I will do the work and I will have all the pieces come together beautifully in the workshop. And then I have to put those pieces together in a report. I don't like it at all. Okay, so I tell myself this is so hard. And because I tell myself this is so hard, my experience of writing the report is that it is hard. That thinking sets me up for the experience of struggle whenever I have a report to do. I've had to upgrade my mindset to something empowering like, I can do this, which really works. Or, what I've started to do in recent times, I get an assistant, somebody who comes to the workshop with me, and they take the notes. They put them together, and then in other words, they make big pieces out of the little pieces of the report, of the workshop experience. And then I put those big pieces together, and it is so much easier. Okay? And so, doing that, finding something practical and useful to the situation, that helps in the changing of the mindset. The second thing is to determine the mindset that you need and act as if. Is it a mindset of prosperity, a mindset of peace, a mindset of love? So pick a goal that you want to achieve and ask yourself, what mindset would I need to achieve this goal? And which mindset do people have that those people were successful in achieving a similar goal? So, for example, if you want to be healthy and fit, you have to say things like, I love taking care of my body. That's a mindset. You have to love taking care of your body rather than seeing exercise as a chore. Right, Hanif? Well, you see, my friend Hanif here is very good at physical stuff, but he knows how some of us struggle with keeping up with the physical stuff. But exercise, we have to have the mindset to want to make it happen. So this way we're basically tricking the brain to adopt a new mindset and reinforcing it with action. The third thing, we have to learn and we have to apply that learning. When we come to Sunday morning service, when we go to a class, we learn lots of stuff. How are we putting that learning into practice? Right? So we want to read the books from New Thought. And that helps to deepen our understanding of the science of mind principles. But we need to put it into practice. Find even one little lesson that you learned from one of the classes and say, I'm going to put this in practice this week. And apply that learning to your everyday living. Number 4, surround yourself with like-minded people. Start hanging out with people that are very successful if success is something that you want. If you want to deepen your consciousness of truth, rub shoulders with the practitioners and the ministers. I'm sure that we won't mind because we are just the vessels of God's wisdom and we are happy to share that wisdom with you. Right? It's easier to adopt a new mindset when you see that it's already working for other people. Learn how they think and adapt their daily habits to match their mindset. Number 5, create new habits to support that new perspective. Doing so at the same time, doing something at the same time every day will help shift your mindset and reinforce new thinking. For example, schedule prayer and meditation at the same time every morning. Or you can program a sound on your phone at a certain time. I do an alarm at a certain time, twice a day, to remind me to stop, breathe, become present in stillness just for a few moments. If I'm in a workshop, I might turn my back to the flip chart, take a deep breath and just do a quick affirmation. Nobody is any the wiser. Number 6, learn how to do spiritual mind healing treatment. Treatment or affirmative prayer enables us to shift our mind, so you can shift your mind so as to start manifesting in the way that you desire. It is based on the recognition and acceptance that God is all there is. We are one with God, that there is no spot where God is not, that we are all spiritual beings here and now, and that all the abundance of the universe is already ours if we can accept and embody it. It allows us to consciously clear away the grime of false beliefs of a condition to reveal the truth that was always there. While science of mind ministers and practitioners are trained in how to effectively use treatment, our faith is grounded in the idea that this is something that anyone and everyone can do. Come to class or make an appointment with a minister or practitioner to learn how. Then try it for yourself and experience some amazing results in your life. You know, Ernest Holmes tells us that the mind must reach a place where it no longer remembers the past with anxiety or looks into the future with uncertainty. If you believe in God, if you believe in your own soul, then no matter what situation confronts you, you can be happy. And speaking of situations, last Saturday, my son was robbed of his mobile device. You know, just came in behind him. He obviously didn't see the person, and the person just stuck their hand in his pocket, took it and disappeared. Now, he was obviously devastated. His iPhone provides not only connection and entertainment, but it has great accessibility features for someone who is blind. He went through the multiple emotions of shock and despair and anger, everything. And then late on Saturday night, this is like 2 in the morning, I should say, Monday morning, he said, "Mom, This will never happen to me again. It is a wake-up call for me to begin to take action that I have been procrastinating about. If I am to move forward, I have to move my mind from violation to liberation. How is that for a matter of perspective? And then he declared, I will get a new phone and I will accomplish my goals sooner rather than later. Definite perspective. By Monday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 2 days, his new phone was purchased, mostly paid for by his own efforts. I mean, if I could, the details just blow my mind away. All he said, he put out, my phone was stolen. Does anybody have a phone they're not using that I could get? And that was that. GoFundMe, phone with case, with insurance. Ask, and it shall be given unto you. It's all a matter of perspective. So I believe that he still has some healing to do. There's still some very, soft spots that, we have to work through. So, but for the most part, there's a focus which I'm really, really proud about. I am assured that he has the tools, because I know he has absorbed so much from me. It's very painful when he can throw signs of mine back at me, especially when I'm off the wagon in my behavior. It's not pretty. But it then says to me, if I step away from my ego, that Kevin has been learning these principles all these years. The late Dr. Wayne Dyer says, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Our divine good friends will always be manifest in perfect alignment with the height of our belief and the depth of our faith. And so it must, as John 1 John chapter 4 verse 4 says, and we all know this, so if you know it, you can say it with me. Greater is he who is in you than he who is in the world. Let's say that together. But let us use it in the first person. Greater is he who is in me than he who is in the world. Greater is he who is in me, that which is in me, that presence and power of God, that which guides me, drives me, allows me to carve a path in this thing called life. So the science of mind helps us to develop our minds. It helps us to improve the quality of our lives. And it helps us to break the trance of acceptance that circumstances are just the way things are. So as we recognize the ways in which the world seeks to hypnotize us, hypnotize us into fear, limitation, lack, and scarcity, we can choose to be filled by the inner source and substance of our being and become a radiating presence of joy, peace, prosperity, and fulfillment. It all is a matter of perspective. Namaste.
Thank you. You asked why? You've got the answers. Upgrade your mindset. Be aware of your self-talk. Practice what you learn. And by the way, do your assignments when Reverend John sets them, or when anybody, any speaker sets them. Go and do the mindset, because go and do the assignment. That's how you change the mindset. You associate with like-minded people. You create new habits to reinforce new thought patterns, and you learn how to pray. Commit to dwell on that which is true and uplifting, and don't focus on the wise. Focus on the practice. So now, we're going to invite Hanif to the podium.
darkness light, where there is sadness joy. Oh, divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love, for it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, it is in dying that we are born to eternal life.
Amen.
Thank you so much, Hanif. Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace. Can I ask you to let us say that together? Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace. Wow. So just take me, use me, goosebumpy me. Wow, and now we're going to sing. We're going to just join our voices with Hanif. And, what am I forgetting? The prayer of the prayer of Jamaica. So let's say it together. The prayer of Jamaica. It's on the screen and it's also in your program. Together.
The radiant light of God's love is now flowing through us and from us to everything and everyone it touches. The eternal light of God's love now completely fills, covers, and surrounds our island Jamaica. The glowing intensity of the light of God's love now interpenetrates and awakens within the hearts and minds of our countrymen and women the truths of life which set free. The light of God's love is growing and glowing in intensity in the hearts and minds of mankind everywhere. Love, health, harmony, goodwill, peace, uprightness, integrity, joy, prosperity, kindness, and our oneness under God are now established, and so it is.
And we sing together our second hymn, which is on the flyer in your program. We praise thee, O God.
Hallelujah. rejoice and be glad. Let the morning you shine. Give praise and thanksgiving for love that's divine. Hallelujah, thine the glory. Hallelujah again. Hallelujah, thine the glory. We praise thee. Amen.
Thank you, friends. And let us now just take our loving gifts. And we're going to say together the blessing that's on the front of the envelope. Lovingly I give,
joyfully I receive. Be thou fruitful, increase and multiply. Bless, prosper, and enrich everyone whom you touch, and replenish all of my financial affairs.
Thank
So
you.
be it.
So
Thank
it
you,
is.
Father. And
So it is. And in this consciousness of thanksgiving, we open our hearts and our minds to the truth which sets us free, which liberates us from vestiges of the past, which liberates us from ideas that no longer serve. We open our minds and consciousness to embrace ideas of joy, of love, of wealth, of harmony, of goodness, and all that we imagine for ourselves. We see it spread before us like a glorious feast. We ask, it's given unto us, we choose, and we choose rightly. And so as we leave to go to our respective destinations this morning, we take this consciousness with us. We take the knowing that God is forever with us, expressing as us, embracing us, inspiring us, providing for us, expressing through us. We truly give thanks for this Sunday morning, for the gathering of like-minded spirits. We know that this word touches everyone that it needs to touch, all for the spread of truth and to make this an amazing world that works for everyone. For this I'm grateful, and in the spirit of gratitude I release these words and just know that they are our perfect and magnificent experience. I truly rejoice that all this is so, and so it is. And this morning we're going to sing, Let There Be Love on Earth. Yes, there is love on earth.
Yes, there is love on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is love on earth, the love that was meant to be with God as our Father. Family all are we. Yes, we walk with each other in a perfect harmony. Yes, love begins with me. Yes, this is the moment now. With every step I take, yes, this is my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in love eternally. Yes, there is love on earth, and yes, it begins with me.
Friends, it was such a joy to gather together this morning. And if you are so moved to contribute to the wonderful work we're doing here at the Temple of Light, you may go to donate or page for contributions, donate.templeoflightcsl.org, or you may transfer funds to our savings account number 20941 at the Bank of Nova Scotia, Knutsford Boulevard. remember that we have practitioner Carol Campbell on this morning. And we have our healing service on Tuesday evening. Quiet moments in the garden on Monday morning with Reverend John at 6 o'clock. And on Thursday, we have Reverend Dr. Jim Lockhart, the hero within. That is our topic when we're inviting you to join us. Thank you so much for being part of our community, friends.
That was meant to be. Take each moment and live each moment in love eternally. Yes, there is love on earth, and yes, it be.